one thing I want to debunk, I don't know if all wrestling fans think that, or you're a stunningly beautiful woman, you're an Instagram influencer, but you got into wrestling at 13 years old. You weren't a model getting into this. How the
Right.
fuck
Far
did you get
from.
into wrestling at 13?
Well, far from a model, because especially back then I was like a little tomboy, like, just wore
Okay.
like tracks, like matching tracksuits all the time, and, hung out with the guys. And
Yep.
yeah, so that was me. But I watched wrestling since I was like 8 years old, probably around then, with my big brother Jake, and
Ah,
just kind of fell in love with it. And back then, like in Australia, there's no like amateur wrestling or Olympic wrestling. So it was, that was it, just like sports entertainment type of wrestling. And yeah, I just fell in love with it. And I thought, well, I need to find somewhere to train and learn how to do this.
that's crazy. You're so young. It's unbelievable. Like when I talked to Tony Storm, she started very young too. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the island over there, if you guys get into your system younger or
Or maybe it's just because they're a little more lenient too, because I don't think you can train that young most places. But
no.
and I was persistent, and like, I'm a bit stubborn, so I was just like, I want to wrestle, I want to wrestle, I want to wrestle. And even my mum, for I think it was about a year, she stalled and tried to get me to change my mind, and then
Yeah,
eventually she's like, I'll just take you.
crazy.
Yeah.
And now is your brother your biggest fan? Is he still a wrestling fan?
Yeah, he literally will send me like clips of wrestling and like flashbacks and stuff every week, and he'd be like,
Oh,
"This is cool about this move. What about this? Oh, it was cool when you did this." Like, I laugh and joke because that's like our conversation. I'm like, we don't really talk about anything else,
it's amazing.
but
I
it's
love that
it's
though.
good. Yeah, it's good.
And what about your parents? They must have had their apprehensions, like you said. Are they into everything now? Like obviously you've been extremely successful and
Yeah, my mom has always been my biggest fan. She's been, my support and through everything. So um, when I was first starting, like I said, she didn't necessarily want me to wrestle, but at the same time, she wanted just to, because it's like a male dominant sport too,
yeah.
and especially all the way back then, she just wanted me to be safe, really, and kind of, be protective mom, like
Yeah, she was a
like they
good
are.
mom.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so she would come with me to watch my training and to like
Ah,
the shows and hang out, and then she just became like everyone's mum basically. So yeah, wrestling family. So she's always been a huge support. The first person I called when I got my contract with WWE was my mom, and like
no.
crying my eyes out. um, and yeah, so she's been there for everything. I still will every day, well, not every day, but
Most
whenever
days.
I feel like I need to talk to someone or I've got something going on, I'll just get on the phone with my mom. So she's awesome. My dad, he's lived overseas a lot of my life,
Okay.
so we are not as close, and I guess probably took a lot longer for him to come around to it. He kind of was like, you're gonna go to university, you're gonna get a degree, right? You're gonna do these things, and I guess probably thought that I would snap out of it.
Okay.
And I didn't. But I joke now, like it worked out all right for me. So
Yes, it
um,
did.
yeah, it worked out all right. So I guess it took probably a while, but maybe by the time I was actually signed to WWE and kind of doing big things, he started to realize the extent of it. And, when people from his work or people that worked for him were coming up saying like, I saw your daughter on TV or this and that, then I think he started to be like, oh, hang on a minute, this is
Yeah.
like a real thing.
Yeah.
So, and then I think then it all started to change. Like then he'd start gloating about me to his friends and
Oh,
this and that.
okay.
So it took a while for him to come around, but he is proud too.
That's wonderful. Now you obviously started your training in Australia, but then you went to the Great White North. You came to my neck of the woods. You ended up at Lance Storm's wrestling school in Calgary.
Yeah.
How? How? Why?
And yeah, it sounds very random, doesn't it? Especially coming from Australia. But
Yeah.
so back then, I'd been training in Australia and wrestling, and I just thought I need to do something like bigger
Yeah.
and across the pond to get noticed or to get where I want to be. Because there was just this big kind of disconnect between Australia and wrestling, in the Northern Hemisphere.
Right.
Or yeah, you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
so to make it to the big time, basically. So I had a friend at the time who was had just come back from training with Lance Storm, and his name is Carlo Cannon, and he's out in Melbourne, and so he was telling me all about it, and I just thought, well, maybe that's the next step for me, is to get professionally trained somewhere. And I've had heard nothing but good things about Lance, so I just kind of on a whim just was like, I'm just going to go to Canada and just see what happens, you know. So I'd already been saving up all my money because I knew that I wanted to go overseas to train from when I was young. I just knew that there wasn't any way for me to get where I wanted staying in Australia. So I was already prepared. I had the money saved. It was just a matter of where and when. And at that point, I'd been in university for about a year studying a business degree. And I just thought, I can do this like pretty easily. This is not, not a stress, not hard, but am I enjoying it? Not really.
Yeah.
So I just thought, I'm going to just go to Canada. So I booked a flight and just kind of took off, booked his school for 3 months. And yeah,
Good for
ended
you.
I ended up like staying there, I think multiple times. I came and went to Calgary and like helped train the next class, or would just sit there and watch other people wrestle and take notes. And yeah.
Good for you. So you really put the legwork in. I admire that very much so, because that's quite a culture shock, really. Like, we speak the same language, but there's so many different things.
Yeah. And I was 19 when I first moved, so I was pretty young still.
Yeah, that's actually the first time I left technically I moved out on my own, was when I first signed to WWE. I think I just turned 20. And I was like,
so young. Wow.
So young. Like, there's so many benefits. You grow up fast, but there's probably some emotional stunting that goes on because you're constantly coping.
Yes. And you're just kind of in that bubble of like excitement and drama and stress and pressure and everything. Right. So yeah, it's a lot.
And we make mistakes, and unfortunately it just becomes internet knowledge. But you try growing up in, away from home and around a bunch of really good looking, in shape people. Shit happens.
Yeah, exactly. It's life experiences. And like you said, it happens kind of more quickly than for some other people.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
Now, you started wrestling obviously so young, but prior to, was there anything else in your life that was really important, be it sports, or did you play a musical instrument, or was there anything in school that really inspired you?
I never did any other sport. I played plenty of sports, but nothing to the extreme where I was like with wrestling.
Right.
I was just kind of, dabbled in a few different things. And outside of that, literally I was just stuck on wrestling. But the only other thing I would say that I really had interest in was food. And so I loved like cooking, and eating, but I loved, but what I was studying was like a hospitality business degree. So it was, I was interested in, the whole hospitality field in cooking stuff and the behind the scenes. And I still am a huge foodie.
Are you?
I've done my own cooking shows. I post stories of meals when I eat out. Like, I'm still the same. So that was my other true passion.
I love the taste of Tenille. Is that something you want to keep on going?
Well, I find that I do it for a period of time, usually when I have more time.
Of course.
Or, like when COVID started again, I thought, okay, let me go do Taste of Tenille again. And people always ask me about it, when's it coming back? So I did that. And then I started getting real busy again. So it kind of has to go on the back burner. But yeah, there's always still like an interest somewhat in food, and ideas I have going on about how I can evolve things, like having my own show one day, or like a travel hosting, food and travel show. That's something like that is definitely something I aspire to, but it's just all in the works, all ideas I'm constantly going through my head and working on.
We should do a Taste of Tenille with Taylor Wilde and review the catering food.
Yes. I'm down.
All right. We'll pitch it. Now, being as you were on the indies for a long time, did you have any serious injuries?
On the independents, I had a lot of problem with my shoulder, and my right shoulder. And at that point, it was mainly just like dislocations. So I would, it was just kind of became, wear and tear led to a dislocation. And then after you do it one time, it's kind of prone to it. So it just kept happening. And that was throughout, Australian wrestling and training with Lance and all of that. So by the time I got to, I went to my tryout with FCW and was offered a contract finally. that's when I went for medical tests, and they said, you know, you're going to have to do something about that shoulder before we hire you. So I
Oh,
had one like this open tryout and offered a contract out of like all the people. They offered me the contract, and then I was like, oh crap.
oh,
So I had
geez.
to go. I was living in Canada. I had to move back to Australia to get the surgery, and waited like almost a year and a half to get my shoulder good to go. And then luckily, they still wanted me, so I could start back with the contract that I won.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that all got sorted out because, as you know, if they hire you and they fix it during your time, that could be your demise as is, just a
Yeah.
simple injury.
Well, it happened there too. It
Oh,
happened
did
again.
it?
Yeah, when I was in a big match in like, I would say we were on tour in like, what was it, Manchester or somewhere around the UK. We're on a tour,
Yeah.
and it was like a tag match, and I was wrestling at the time in the ring with Sasha, and just like an accident, my arm got caught on the rope while she was doing a move, and it just tore it.
Oh
So
my
at that point,
gosh.
it was a very bad injury. I was out for like I tried to not have the surgery because like I said, I'm stubborn and I
Yeah,
didn't want to have time off. And you don't want to lose my spot. So
of
I was
course.
always like, I just need to stay on TV and just push through.
Yep.
So I tried that. And then it just kept dislocating even after I rehabbed for a month straight, intense rehab. So I ended up having a surgery again. And then it just like, it goes on and on. Then that didn't fix it
Wow.
properly. So I had another surgery.
Oh my
Yeah. And I had
gosh.
one on my back too. And I had a big feud with Becky Lynch that was brewing, and we had just started it. And then we were like 1 or 2 matches into this feud, and then herniated a disc in my back.
You
So
had to have
again,
surgery
like
for
I said,
that.
yeah, I
Oh
was
my
off for a while
gosh.
for that one too.
That must have
So
been
that kind
so
of ruined
serious.
that.
Oh, geez.
Yep. Yep.
What was the recovery like with your back surgery?
That one was not as bad as the shoulder, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because it was just a herniated disc and I didn't need a fusion or anything. So they basically cut the basically when I landed, I just took a bump. So
Yeah.
it was wear and tear again. I'd been having issues, but no one could work out what it was.
Okay.
And then I took this bump and I felt like a pain. And I just thought, oh, I might have just pulled a muscle or something. Ignored it for a few days.
As you do.
Um, to the point where I couldn't stand or sit or lay down or anything without being in pain. And I was having to like lift my arm above my head to try alleviate the pain,
Right.
which all makes sense eventually because when I got the MRIs, it showed that the disc had like squirted out so hard that it had like disconnected and it was like poking into my spinal cord. So
Oh my gosh.
it was like emergency surgery. Within a week, I was in surgery, and once they took it out,
Yeah.
that piece, it was like instant relief. So then it was just a matter of the scar healing and doing the rehab. So it only took maybe like 3 or 4 months after, for what you'd think, it's a scary thing, a back surgery.
Yeah.
But before that, like my shoulder, even with these later ones I had, it was like 9 months, 10 months before I could get it
Wow.
anywhere near normal. It just took so long to rehab it.
Shoulders, there's so many layers. I don't know, like if people don't know, like the tendons and the ligaments, and there's so much muscle, and your
Yeah.
body always overcompensates. And by the time something goes wrong, it's too far gone.
Yeah, it's the
Ugh.
worst. And then not to mention, like, when you first get the shoulder surgery done, you're in a sling and can't move it for about 6 weeks. Like, just can't use your arm. It's just a pain. That's
I
happened 3 times to me now. So
Was there
yeah,
ever a moment after a major surgery that you thought, fuck it, that's it?
no.
Good for you.
I almost like wait for the moment where I think, am I going to stop or am I going to go, okay, that's enough, no more wrestling? But
Yeah.
it's a real mental game because to actually say to yourself, I'm not going to wrestle anymore. And I talk about this sometimes, it would be such a major decision for me to
Yeah.
just not wrestle. Even if I like eased off it a bit or whatever it was,
Right.
to say I'm not doing it now, it would be like crazy. It's my whole life.
Yeah. This is what you've been doing since you were 13. Like it's
This is
part
all
of
I
who
know.
you
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
And I definitely
you,
have worked on other things outside of that. But yeah, to not wrestle would be a huge shock to the system.
of course. Now you were with
Hmm.
WWE for a while, 2011 to 2017. That's a long career. Like my
Yeah.
career lasted a whopping 12 months. Um, the one thing I can't fathom is your name is so stunning. Tenille, how the hell did you end up with Emma?
Well, as you would know, especially back then, now
Yeah.
they let people use their real names a
Yeah.
lot. Especially back then, there was whatever copyright and all those things, so you couldn't use your real name. So when I first started, they said, "Give me a list of names," and I remember gave like a list. I don't know, probably like 20 names or something.
Yeah.
And they were like 2-part names too. Like I had a last name, but they just went ahead and went, "Oh, out of all of these, we'll just pick this name, but without that. So just Emma." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Just MA.
Well, like they came back with 2 options. It was like Emma or like Adeline was the other one. And I thought,
Okay.
Adeline, what is that even? I'm like, I guess it's a nice name, but like it's not like catchy. It's not easy to
Right.
say. It's not like Adeline. People will forget. Or I thought
Yeah.
Emma is simple. Everyone will be able to say it. I can, make puns with Emma, which I did plenty of. And yeah, the evolution and all those things. I use that to the maximum. So
Of course.
I just found a way to make it work.
Now, in contrast, being with Impact, like yourself, I've been on both sides, and
Yeah.
they're so drastically different, even if we're just talking about the environment backstage.
Yeah.
What for you has been the biggest difference? What's been like the biggest positive you've taken now that you're at Impact?
Well, first I'll say that I think Impact is a perfect place for me in my career. Okay, so I would say the main things for me, from the difference between WWE and Impact, is a lot of it would be like creative freedom.
Yeah.
Would be a big one. And I wouldn't say like I regret anything in my career. I love everything I did at WWE, and I think right now this is where I'm meant to be right now in my career with Impact. So everything has made me more appreciative of where I am, and that's like comes with the pressure of WWE. You know, Sometimes you're not on TV, and you're constantly pitching and trying, and sometimes you don't get heard,
Yeah.
or you don't get the opportunities that you have worked for, and some people get the opportunities that you might have wanted or pitched or whatever it is. So I feel like it's very rewarding and Impact coming from that experience to be heard for one, have input into creative, storylines and what you're doing as far as your own character. Because I've always been told this in all my training is like, your own character better than anyone else does.
Right.
So, of course, I love getting help and feedback and all that, because that, using other people and throwing ideas around always helps you. But
Yeah.
I feel like if someone's telling you what to do and it's not authentic, then you're not going to do it well. So, so being, close in that like close, tight knit kind of family where, you're asked for your opinion and you listen to, and you get to do things that you're excited and happy about. And I'm always on too as well. Like I'm always on TV.
It's true.
I'm not just, I don't turn up and just go, "Oh, they don't want me today. I'll just sit here."
Yes.
Like I'm putting my talents and my efforts to use. So that is a big difference for me.
Yeah. And you nailed it. For me, it's always been like wrestling is wrestling wherever you go, but Impact, formerly TNA, it's always been this family vibe. And it's a business. Maybe it's because there's not the same level of money flowing, but we're dysfunctional, everyone fights, but you're rewarded for your good efforts, and you're scolded if you're a dick, and that just doesn't exist on the other side.
Yeah. And there's a big disconnect between like the talent and the authority, or whatever it is. So like I felt, and especially because I'm not saying it's other people's fault necessarily. It was probably me as well, being younger and then being intimidated and not really being, knowing myself as well. As now I'm very confident in myself. I know what I have to offer and I know what I deserve, And I think back then I was a bit caught up in things, whereas I would try really hard to get people's attention, to show like how much I want to be on. I was constantly pitching things and ideas. But at the same time, sometimes you don't even know if what you're saying is getting to the top people.
Exactly.
Whereas like at Impact, I talk to Scott, I talk to, I talk to the writing team. I just texted them earlier today, like we're talking about what's happening. So I don't feel like that I don't even know if people care what I'm saying or anything like that.
It's a great feeling, like you're in control of your creative integrity, and like of course it's not going to be everything, but it makes a better show because you're excited to do what you're writing.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a cool place to be right now. And I think the Knockouts division, of course I'm biased, but it's really diverse, it's really exciting, and it's very reminiscent of the era I was a part of, where the Knockouts were probably one of the most important segments on the show, and that you simply can't get that in other professional companies on TV.
Yeah, and they've still kind of kept that high standard.
Yes.
And I would say more recently too, I know you mentioned like they don't have as much the money flow or whatever it is, but Impact is a huge company, and they are making very smart decisions on picking up talent that is fresh out of contracts and that are in demand, and like that, and that just Gianna Perazzo is a good example of it. And there's a really good roster of women right now, and that's it's just a test to how much they're paying attention, listening to the fans, which is very important.
I agree, and you're right. There's very good business decisions being made, which is good for all of us.
Yeah, and I can't wait to get in the ring with you and kick your ass.
Yeah, bring it, girl, bring it. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Oh, I never really pictured that would even be possible, so this is awesome.
I know, I'm very excited. Got so many ideas, and obviously you do too. So
yeah.
Give the fans what they want. Now, you've come so far in, I know you started training at 13, but really by the time you got hired, your career hasn't been super long, and you've had wonderful success. But now you've taken into the Instagram world of influencers, and you're living in Mexico. And how did this all come about? This is amazing.
So that kind of ties into what I was saying. I've been working on my life outside of wrestling too for a long time now, because I figure eventually I'm gonna, need to slow down, or your body can't take all the wear and tear constantly. But I didn't want to just be all of a sudden like, oh, that's it. I'm done with the wrestling, and now what do I do? Like I'm never going to work a 9-to-5 job. It's just not for me. And I've done over the years a lot of stuff involving my fans, and Taste of Steel and all that stuff, where I'm showing that I love to cook, I love food, I love to travel, and I've been like involving my fans in my life for a long time, and that's all part of like building my brand, I guess. For what's to come, when I stop wrestling as much, or even in the meantime with COVID, we haven't been, as frequently traveling and wrestling.
Right.
So yeah, I spend a lot of time in my social media building that, having that like rapport with my fans. And I guess with all this COVID situation, like we know it's been hard to travel, and I normally like want to take off every second week. I go home for a week and go, okay, I'm bored now, I'm gotta go somewhere. So Mexico was like a good option of somewhere nice to base, like I'm right by the water, the beach, the sun, like it's good weather, there's good people here. COVID is not like, I'm sure COVID is around, but everyone that I know around has been safe and well. And a lot of things are outdoors here as well. And then my boyfriend's moved over from the UK too. So it's just like the perfect place for us to live and base, and like, enjoy a happy life outside of COVID restrictions.
Mexico is actually where I want to end up in a few years. So I'm probably going to pick your brain. Yeah,
well, I mean, by all means. And we're in Playa del Carmen right now. And I've been to Mexico a number of times, but never spent like this long here. And like, this is like the perfect place. We just say it all the time. Like, we're so glad that we decided to stay here, because it's so many people come and just go, oh, I think I'm just going to stay here. It's so nice and easy lifestyle.
Yeah. I was in Maya de Rivera de Maya. One of the other.
Yeah, it's like the area.
Yeah. And I was there for about 2 weeks, and I had been to Mexico for wrestling before, but never on holiday. And I was like, you know what, this is the life. Like, everyone's happy. It's such a chill vibe. It's like healthy, you're by the water. And I just thought that, no, I'm going to end up here one day. It's just.
And I'm always tanned now.
Yeah.
It's a win-win.
Don't rub it in. It was just snowing about an hour ago.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I
Yeah.
can't deal with snow or cold weather for, I don't know,
Oh,
too long.
yeah.
For
No,
a trip or something, then I'll do it, but
right.
not for like, life. I can't do
Not
it.
for 6, 8 months out of the year.
No way. It's
Now,
just
is your partner
miserable.
a wrestler?
No,
No.
no,
Oh, you have a
no,
not
he's
a civilian.
yeah, well, he's an engineer and a photographer, a videographer. So we do a lot
Okay.
of loves travel like me. So we do a lot of the traveling and photos and videos and stuff together, and kind of help each other work on it.
That's really
Um,
cool. What a awesome union.
yeah,
Because
yeah, we help each other out.
everything nowadays is social media. So that's
Yep.
genius. You're
Yeah,
genius, Tenille.
we're a good team.
Well, I'm so happy that we had a chance to speak today. And I like to end all my episodes exactly the same. I do kind of a speed round. It's 10 tailor-made questions, but don't rush through any of the questions.
Okay.
You go as fast or as slow as you want. So
Okay.
name one beauty product you can't live without.
Oh, I'm bad with makeup. I don't like wearing makeup at all.
I don't.
Or beauty products. Like I will avoid it every other day if I can.
Yeah, me too.
Um,
For me, it's
I would
skincare
say
products.
no. I don't even bother.
Really?
No.
I'm so jealous.
I don't bother. I'm really lazy with like skincare and all that. I don't know if I'm going to do my makeup. Like I just need a good pair of lashes. Maybe let's go with that.
Lashes, love it. What is your favorite exercise?
Favorite exercise, like in the gym, like an actual, or just what type of exercise?
Anything.
I was just say like weightlifting.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
I I get really agitated or irritated with like when people make little noise or fidgety things. So like just thought of it. My boyfriend does like if he sits on the couch, he does this thing with his toes where they're like flicking constantly. And I'm just like, I said to him yesterday, if you do that one more time, I'm gonna cut your foot off.
Oh, that's so funny. Humans
So
are
yeah,
so weird.
little noises and fidgety things. I'm like, what is that? Stop that.
Because you're very calm. You always seem to be on like the same level. So I could see how that irritates you. You're always very
Maybe it's like a rage inside until I snap.
You just have two switches. I like it.
Yeah.
Who is your celebrity crush?
Oh, I don't really have one.
That's okay.
I'm not really like that. Yeah, but I will say I'm not going to say who, but someone sent me a little image of what's his name, David Beckham, yesterday.
Oh yeah.
And I was laughing because it was just like this thing of his ass basically, but he had a watch on, so they said what a nice watch that is, but you basically just like look at his ass. And my anonymous friend was like, look at that thing. And I was like, I don't know, whatever. Yeah.
So shout out to Beckham's nice ass. I mean, watch. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. What
Yep.
is your favorite band or artist?
Favorite. I like a lot of like house music, and like even just like pop music is on the on the radio and the charts. But I would say like Chainsmokers is like a big kind of go-to for me. I've seen them live a number of times, and they're like one of the best people I've seen live. So
do you like electronic music festivals and stuff?
Yeah. Not like huge, like trance and like deep, but like deep house and like drum and bass and like just kind of chill like dance music. Yeah.
Cool. I wouldn't have picked you for that.
You didn't pick it from these dance moves.
Yeah. Things you can do while sitting. Do you have a secret vice like drinking a glass of wine in the shower?
No, I do not.
Which is okay. Some people just wear their heart on their sleeve.
I've never done that.
No, you should.
But I do enjoy like a margarita every now and then.
Okay. Margarita,
especially Mexico.
Yeah, fresh, not syrup.
No, the real thing.
What wrestler has the best entrance music?
Ooh.
And you can say yourself.
Music. I'm trying to think. It's just the other day I was like, wow, that is some great music. And now I'm blanking on who it was.
That's all right. That's how this goes.
Yeah. I mean, there are a number of people at Impact, like Rosemary's entrance is like sick. Yeah, there are a number of people, but that's the first one that came to mind. But I'm blanking. It's annoying me now because I can't think. I literally just said like that's a great. I was watching wrestling today. I was like, that's a great, and couldn't tell you what it was.
That's all right. We can circle back, and if not, it's all good. What is your drink of choice? Doesn't have to be alcoholic.
Well, the boring answer to that is water. I drink water just like all the time. I don't, unless I'm out and going for a drink or a meal, we'll just 24/7 drink water. I have my bottle with me 24/7.
As I cheers.
It's like the one thing I always have with me is like my water. Yeah.
Well, as stupid as it sounds, I feel like with aging, that is like the best, not anti-aging, but if you're not hydrated, you start looking like a dry.
You feel like crap.
Yeah,
you feel like crap too.
Yeah. What has been your most embarrassing moment in the ring? Botch or wardrobe malfunction?
I was just talking about this the other day too. I don't know. It's funny. I don't know why you're asking me all these things I've just spoke about.
I'm in your mind.
Yeah, because I was actually talking about how embarrassing it would be if you had to if you shit yourself in the ring. But I haven't done that. Let me just specify. But I was saying that would be so embarrassing because we watched something and I think someone, I don't know, I'd heard a story of one of the boys doing it or something. Yeah. And then also someone so then I was talking about this wardrobe malfunction somebody else has had, but I haven't had anything like that. Okay. I mean, I've definitely done an embarrassing trip or fall off an apron or something like that. But fingers crossed, touch wood, wherever it is, that I don't have any of those really bad moments.
What was the embarrassing wardrobe malfunction that the anonymous person had?
It was at WrestleMania. That's why we're talking about it, because it was kind of recent. And it was like that big women's match we had, and I was doing it was 2014 or something. I was doing this. I went to do my tarantula on the ropes, and their top had like broken. So basically, they were going like this, and I kept thinking like, "Stop doing that! I need to do my tarantula. I need to get my shit in." So they were like trying to hold it, and then eventually I managed to get their arms hooked, and I think my legs held their top on somehow. And then afterwards they bailed to the outside, and they were like, "Somebody help me!" But it was fully broken and off basically. So funny. Yeah, I don't know. Somehow it didn't end up too bad, as bad as it could have been.
Let me get my shit in. Stop being selfish.
I was thinking, this is WrestleMania, dude. I got one spot. But in saying that, I had no idea her top was broken. I was thinking, what's she doing? We just got to get to the spot.
Oh, that's funny. Those are those moments that you look back at. You're like, how did that even happen?
Well, we were all laughing. She was like, I couldn't do it because my top was going on. I was like, I was wondering why you're being so difficult. What's your problem?
Learn how to work. Jesus.
Yeah, geez. WrestleMania, dude. No time to mess around.
Oh, I love that story. That's good. Okay. Yeah. Last one. Finish this lyric. Work, 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 work.
Do I have to sing it too?
You can just say it.
I can't even remember. Isn't it all just work, 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 work?
That's it. All you have to add on was work, work, work.
Okay. It was like a trick question. I felt pressured then.
Is there more work? Sorry, I set you up for failure.